German traditional food and drinks are not well known internationally, but after living in Germany for 2.5 years, I can proudly say Germany has got one of the best and unique traditional dishes in the world. Having lived in Tübingen, which is in the Swabish region, Cologne, and currently in Berlin, I realized in fact the German cuisine in each region is quite different. However, most German food focuses on potatoes, and lots of meat, bread, and of course some vegetables like the rest of the world. In terms of drinks, Germans like to drink coffee, Coke, and some alcoholic beverages just like the rest of us, but as the stereotype goes, Germans really do love beer. At groceries, there are often 2 aisles of beer if not one, showcasing beer of all flavors from all regions in Germany. I'm sure you can't try them all if you're visiting Germany just for the vacation, but it's a challenge worth trying if you are living here like me. This post will tell you everything you need to know about German food and drinks. First of all, I suggest you start exploring German food by trying classic traditional food. I will share the top 10 traditional foods you can try everywhere in Germany. If you visit Germany, you must go to a Bäckerei and get some bread there. Bäckerei in Germany open between 5 to 8 in the morning and even on Sunday for limited hours in the morning. This is surprising because even the groceries are closed on Sunday in Germany. The most common types of bread you can enjoy are Brot and Brötchen. Brot is like a normal bread you see in Canada or the US, but in Germany there are more varieties in terms of what grains they use. Additionally, Brötchen is a small bread roll and it comes with a wide variety of options to choose from like sunflower seeds, wheat, etc. It's usually crispy outside and soft and chewy inside, which I really like. Of course, you have to try bretzel when you're here because you need to take a pic of it, right? It's soft and chewy inside. And Germans actually like to have them for breakfast or snacks. You can buy frozen ones for an affordable price as well. Next one you need to try is German donuts. Okay, they might not be officially called donuts in Germany, but since they look like one to me, I will call them donuts for the sake of explaining. First, Berliner is a donut without a hole, filled with different jams or jelly, dusted with sugar. It looks just like the one you're imagining right from Dunkin' Donuts and Tim Hortons, but it's not as sweet. If you're in Berlin, I recommend that you get them from Brimmeball, which is a famous vegan donut shop in Berlin. If you're on a budget, you can get them at any groceries too, and they are usually less than €1 there. Berliner is also a New Year's snack in Germany, so if you visit Germany during the year end, you will definitely see a huge selection of Berliners with all the flavors at bakeries and groceries. Closer to Christmas you will see Stoll, which is a fruitcake, or Lebkuchen, which are biscuits, everywhere at the groceries in Germany. When I lived in the south of Germany, I saw Käsespätzle everywhere. It's a dish originating from the Schwabish region, which is in the southwest of Germany. It's so distinct and special because the noodles are made of egg, looking quite uneven. It's usually topped with caramelized onion and cheese. It's so flavorful and creamy, so give it a try. Currywurst is something I see all the time in Berlin, and they open quite late, so it's often the perfect spot for a night snack after a night out. Wurst means a sausage, so it literally translates to curry sausage, or sausage with curry sauce. A Schnitzel is arguably one of the most famous German dishes, and it's so popular here that you will find it in almost every German restaurant, including bars, fine dining spots, and casual dining places. It's made with breadcrumbs, flour, and eggs, and then fried in oil. I especially love it when they offer cranberry sauce for dipping. You can ask for it as extra sometimes because they don't always give that for every kind of schnitzel, whether it's chicken, veal, pork, etc. Rouladen is a dish with thin strips of meat, often in mustard sauce, filled with bacon, pickles, and other tasty ingredients. It is slow-cooked and enjoyed when families come together to share a meal for holidays or celebrations. Bratkartoffeln are pan-fried potatoes, where small chunks of potatoes are boiled lightly, then fried with bacon, caramelized onion, herbs, and so on. It's a common dish to have on the side to the main dish or throughout the day. A Kartoffelpuffer is a fried grated potato pancake. I haven't really seen this at restaurants in Germany, but I get this every year at the Christmas market. It's served with applesauce, and it's literally one of the best snacks in the world. Every culture has its own version of a one-pot dish, and this is the German one. It includes broth, meat, vegetables, potatoes, and, well, more meat. Some things are universal, I guess. Sauerkraut. This one is a healthy side dish made with finely cut raw cabbage, somewhat similar to Korean kimchi since they are both fermented. However, sauerkraut is sour, not spicy. Sauerbraten. Sauerbraten is a slow-cooked roast meat dish with a sweet and sour gravy-like sauce. It takes hours and even days to make this, so make sure to try it at one of the traditional German restaurants when you are here. Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte. Translated to Black Forest cake, did you know that the cake originates from southwest Germany? Make sure to try the original version when you are in Germany. Doener. Last but not least, I had to put Doener here. This is my #1 favorite German food. It's controversial whether this is actually a Turkish or German food, since it originates from the Turkish community in Berlin. Make sure to try one at one of the famous places to taste the freshest, tastiest, and simply a sandwich with the best combination of vegetables, meat, and sauce. Typical German beverages. Notably, Germans love to enjoy Kaffee und Kuchen in the afternoon, where it tends to have milk or cream added to a regular coffee. Radler, which is 50% beer and 50% lemonade or fruit juice, is also very common in Germany. Schorle, which is juice with carbonated water, is popular in summer as well. It's Germany, so not mentioning beer would make this post incomplete. It takes a lifetime to try all the beer available in Germany, so here are some of the common types of beer in Germany that I learned in the past 2 years of living here. German regional specialties. Having lived in multiple regions in Germany so far, I have to say the regional differences in Germany are quite stark, and it's true for food as well. Baden-Württemberg and other cities close to France have visible French influence, including Flammkuchen, which is a German pizza, and Maltaschen, which is German ravioli. Bavarian food centers around meat, with a heavy focus on sausages and other meat options. Northern Germany, including Hamburg, has seafood options, which are uncommon in other parts of Germany. Although not a regional specialty, my current home Berlin has a huge Turkish and Vietnamese influence and restaurant options due to immigration history. German beer and the purity law. In 1516, a law known as the Purity Law or Reinheitsgebot was established. This dictated that only 3 ingredients may go into beer, water, hops, and barley. When yeast was discovered, this was added as a 4th sanctioned ingredient. This 500-year-old law is still in practice today, although those producing beer for export are allowed to add some other ingredients. Types of German beer. It is said that you can drink a different German beer every day for 15 years before you need to have the same one again. But within those thousands of beers are some key specific varieties of the drink that you should familiarize yourself with. Pale lager. Pale lager is the most common beer in Germany and includes varieties such as Export, Helles, and of course Pilsner beers. Pilsner is characterized by a light body, a hoppy flavor, and a typical ABV of around 4.5 to 5%. Pilsner accounts for almost 2/3 of all beer enjoyed in Germany. It is commonly served in a tulip glass, usually in a choice of 300 or 500 milliliters, roughly comparable to the UK's half pint or pint measures. Dark lager. Dark lagers tend to be both bitter and sweeter as well as more malty. They also tend to be stronger with ABVs ranging from 5% up to 12%. Types of dark lager include Altbier and Bock, wheat beer. Wheat beers may be labeled as both Weissenbier, Hefeweizen, both mean wheat beer, or Weissbier, which means white beer. It is a light-colored, top-fermenting beer with a higher proportion of wheat to barley. Wheat beer is sold in bottles and decanted into dedicated glasses that can hold around 500 milliliters of beer, but also have space for the large frothy head. Dark or Dunkel versions are also popular. Unfiltered lager. Conditioned in a similar way to English cask ale is German unfiltered lager known as Keller beer, which means cellar beer, or the weaker Zwickel beer. Naturally cloudy thanks to the retention of the yeast, and either top or bottom fermented, it is much less carbonated than standard lagers, and tends to be stronger in taste. Beer with mixers. For a country with such purist brewing laws, it may come as a surprise that many Germans ask for their beer to be mixed with a soft drink to make it lighter. Radler, which is lemonade and lager 50-50, resembles a British shandy, and it is sometimes known as a Russ when the beer is wheat beer. The terms Diesel, Krefelder and Cola beer all refer to beer and cola mixed 50-50. German breweries. The biggest selling German breweries are Edinger, Krombacher, Bitburger, and Radeberger. The big commercial breweries tend to be located in the north of the country, whilst the smaller, more traditional breweries are found to the south. In total, there are around 1,300 breweries in Germany, together producing 5,000 brands of beer. Much of the beer made in Germany is exported. In fact, Germany produces a third of the world's beer and boasts 15,000 beer brands. In trendy cities such as Berlin, craft beer is enjoying huge popularity. German beer festivals. Around the time of the harvest, which is like late September to early October, traditional beer festivals take place all over Germany. The most famous, of course, is the Munich Oktoberfest Festival, which attracts over 6 million visitors each year. More than just a celebration of beer, attendees dress up in traditional Bavarian clothes and enjoy entertainment and a fun fair too. Only beer over 6%, which has been brewed in the Munich area, can be served. Each year, around 7 million liters of beer are enjoyed at this major event. Other Oktoberfests take place in Stuttgart, Berlin, and Frankfurt, so wherever you are in Germany, you are never that far from a beer festival. When you go to a German bar and simply ask for a beer, you will most likely be given a regional beer. If you want to try something else, such as a non-local wheat beer, dark beer, or Pilsner, then ask specifically for what you want. If you're living in or visiting a town or city with a particularly famous, acclaimed, or historic brewery, then it's worth taking a tour, which usually includes some free tasters. What food is Germany famous for? Bavarian food puts meat at the center of most meals, especially sausages, goose, and pork. Due to the proximity to Austria, this is also where you will find plenty of Schnitzel on the menu. The term Schnitzel means simply cutlet. In Baden-Württemberg to the west, food has a more refined French influence. This includes dishes such as Maultaschen, a pasta dish similar to ravioli with pockets of pasta containing meat, herbs, and spices. Although the dish is made with finesse, the name literally comes from the term meal bags. The meat was traditionally hidden inside the pockets during Lent, when people were meant to eat less meat. The area to the north that sits on the Baltic Sea, Lower Saxony, is where you are more likely to enjoy seafood, such as roll mops and herrings. Cake is enjoyed nationally, but regional variations include Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte from the Black Forest and the brilliantly named bee sting cake, Bienenstichkuchen, from Andernach, so called because the cake was made as a celebration after soldiers from Andernach and Linz used beehives as a form of weaponry. On December 24th and/or 25th, German Christmas food usually involves roast duck goose or even wild boar. This is usually served with potato dumplings, red cabbage, and apple and sausage stuffing. For dessert, there is nothing better at Christmas than a famous Stoll fruitcake or Lebkuchen biscuits. What's a typical German breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Breakfast in Germany is called Frühstück, and almost always includes a hot drink such as tea or coffee. Breakfasts in Germany tend to be fairly hearty, and often start with some bread or rolls which are served with spreads such as butter, jam, and marmalade. Sausage, eggs, cheese, and bacon are common breakfast items too, as are potato pancakes. Cereal, especially muesli or yogurt and fruit, are increasingly popular in Germany, especially with the more health-conscious youth. A glass of orange juice is also common with breakfast. A second breakfast, known as Pausenbrot or a zweites Frühstück, is common in Germany, especially at school. This refueling snack often takes the form of a small sandwich or some fruit. Lunch in Germany is called Mittagessen and is usually eaten between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Germans traditionally enjoy their main cooked meal for lunch rather than dinner. Lunch is often served after a starter such as potato salad. Lunches cooked at home may include Eintopf, Rouladen, Schnitzel or Sauerbraten. It will usually consist of meat or fish served with potatoes, rice or German noodles as well as vegetables and sometimes rolls, Brötchen. Those working in cities, too busy to go to a restaurant or home for lunch, will often want something hot on the go for lunch, as opposed to a cold sandwich. One of the reasons dishes like currywurst or schnitzel plus fries have become so popular is that they are hot and readily available for little money. Despite this rather large lunch and maybe even a two-tier breakfast, a couple of hours after lunch, Germans traditionally sit down for coffee and cake, Kaffee und Kuchen, although this is increasingly becoming a weekend rather than a daily tradition. In Germany, the evening meal is called Abendessen or Abendbrot. The latter is actually more like a supper and literally translates to evening bread. Following a hearty lunch, Germans traditionally enjoy a lighter dinner, with breads, hams, sausages, cheeses and pickles all being very common. In the winter this may include soup as well. This cold buffet-style meal is usually shared with the family or household and is served early evening around 6 or 7 p.m. However, due to the modern working day, and the fact that most Germans, especially in urban areas, no longer come home to eat their lunch, many are starting to have a lighter bread-based lunch, making dinner the cooked meal of the day. This will likely include meat or fish, vegetables and potatoes. Many adults will enjoy a beer with their evening meal.